Hi everyone, this is a program for absolute beginners. Absolute beginners. I will be talking in a very slow voice, going very quietly and easily through our project today. I am going to be using Sketchbook Pro, but many of the features that we are using in Sketchbook Pro are available in any program you choose, whether that's Photoshop or Corel Photo Paint or Illustrator. Wow, I'm showing my age. Photo Paint's been gone for a long time. Or Krita. Krita is free. It's all very similar. Today we are going to be making a color wheel and working with tints and shades. Now, you can go and purchase a fancy color wheel at the art store, but that's not necessary. When using real paint, such as acrylics or oils, there are 3 colors that you will be using to make all the other colors. They are red, blue, and yellow. But in the digitalized computer world, we are working with computer screens. And computer screens use a system called RGB. That means R for red, G for green, and B for blue. What that means for us as artists is that the green and yellow spectrums are different than in real paint. We'll get to that as we go along. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to point you over here to our color palette on the right hand side of the screen. You'll notice there's a red, a yellow, and a couple different blues. And that's because in this color wheel here, it's set up for RGB, for the red, green, blue. So you'll see that there's red and green and blue are these 3 colors here. Those are your main colors, your primary colors, and then your secondary colors will be the yellow and the cayenne blue and the magenta. So we're going to do things a little differently today. We're going to work as if we're working in real paint a little. So what I want you to do is I want you to grab this bright red. I'm clicking on it here, and you'll see in this palette that I have a triangle here, and this triangle shows me the color, the pure color at this top corner. It shows me the tints, which is colors plus white on this side, and it shows me down here colors plus black, which is my shades. Here is the RGB numbers, red, green, and blue. Red, it has the maximum number, which is 255. There is no green. Oh, I gotta get all the way to the top corner. There we go. There is no green, and there is no blue. And this right here is the color that we've chosen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the opposite side of the screen, and I'm going to pick my brushes. Now, your basic brushes will have this nice big fat paintbrush here. It's a very solid paintbrush. You can see you can make big solid circles with it. That's not one of my favorite brushes. It's really good for cartoon work or for filling in an area. But today I'm going to use a more painterly brush. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to grab the one that I have called Scroungy Brush. Just click on it and you'll see that its shape, here, let me grab this too. This is a really neat feature. I can put I'm going to actually slide it down here for just a moment, just to demonstrate something for you. I can put my cursor in here, and suddenly this size square happens at the bottom. And if I drag, it gets bigger. You can see the size is growing to 40, to 50. I get a bigger brush. And if I drag it the opposite way, I get a much smaller brush. Itty bitty brush. I don't want an itty bitty brush today. I'm going to drag it back and get me a nice big number, something like 60. Yeah, that's good enough. Okay, then I'm going to move this back over here out of the way. There we go. So this brush here, you can see it acts more like a real brush. I can push hard and get a nice solid area, or I can push lightly and get a lighter area. But what I want to do right now is I just want to get a big blob of red. I'm going to go back to the right hand side and I'm going to grab this nice bright blue. Here up in the top corner you'll see it's 0, 0, and 255. So it is the maximum for blue that you can get in the RGB color system for monitor screens. I'm going to make me a nice big blue blob in this other corner. There we go. And then I'm going to grab some yellow. I'm going to go back to my palette. I'm going to click on yellow. And you'll see here, this is where computer screens and the RGB system are a lot different than real paint. Here you have 255 of red inside, and you have 255 of green inside to make yellow. So I'm going to take this bright yellow, and I'm going to make a nice big blob over here. Okay, these are our primary colors. These are the 3 colors that all other colors are made from. And then if you want darker colors, you add black. And if you want brighter colors, lighter colors, you add white. That's how real paint works. Well, the digital world isn't quite the same, but you'll see, you'll see. So we're going to make our secondary colors. Those are the colors that sit right here in between. Now as kids we learned that red and yellow makes orange. So I'm going to just take this yellow, I'm just going to lightly color it in. I'm just going to add some yellow right around my yellow. Just lightly brush that yellow in. There we go. Nice yellow in a circle form. I'm going to grab that red again, this big chunk, a little red, and once again we have 255. And I'm going to lightly go over that yellow, and you can see it's already starting to make orange. I'm going to go a little darker and just lightly color into my yellow, and I'm getting orange colors. There we go. Then I'm going to lightly color this direction in my circle, because the next color we're going to work with is blue. I'm going to come over here to the right hand side, back to my palette, grab that blue, click on it. Once again, you'll see that it's 255, so it is the purest blue. And I'm going to just lightly color over that red and make some purple. Look at that. Look at that, little bits of purple coming through. Now here's where things get tricky. Because you're working with a monitor and it wants to make green, when you start digitally painting, green is one of the most difficult colors to actually mix. You will be dependent on your palette more, but you still need to know how to mix colors so you can get the best greens possible. I'm going to take this blue, and you're going to see exactly what I'm talking about. I'm going to take this blue and I'm going to start mixing it with my yellow just real lightly, and I don't see hardly any greens in there at all. Where's the green? It just looks like bleh. So I'm going to go to the left side of my screen and back to my brushes over here. You can see this was my scroungy brush that I was using. But if I go down some, here are some that say smudge, web brush, smudge, coarse angular, smudge, round bristle. It doesn't matter which smudging brush you use, or it's called blender. Just grab one. I like the big chunky round one here, the big round bristle brush. And we're going to go around our color wheel, and we're going to start blending these together a little better, and we're going to see all the beautiful colors except for green. So here we've got our yellow, and I'm just tapping, tapping, tapping. I'm not staying hard and then smearing. I'm just smearing a little, smearing a little, smearing a little, smearing a little. I'm just going to smear little circles here, smear, smear. You can see all these beautiful orange colors. Smear, smear, smear. Oh, there's a pretty pink color that happened. That's because I'm smearing with white from the canvas. Here's our oranges. I'm going to smear that, push that orange over into my reds. Here we go. So I've got this orange in the middle, and I've got all these yellows. Look at all those beautiful colors that I have mixed up in those oranges. Then I'm going to keep going towards the left, and I'm going to smear this red into this purple and get a beautiful magenta color going. Look at those purples. Yes, add a little bit more red. Look at that. Look at all these beautiful magenta reds, red purples. Then we're going to get into the purple blues. Yeah, just add that blue right in there. Look at all that beautiful blue. Yeah, purple, 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 blueberry, blue purples, periwinkles. Just start getting some really neat colors in there. Alright, then we come to green. This is the most disappointing part of making these things, and I'm just going to prepare you now. Green is difficult. I'm going to start right here where I put that blue and yellow. You'll notice it's really difficult to make a pretty green. And once again, this is because your screen runs on RGB. There we go. And I find color mixing for green is just so difficult on the computer. So we're going to cheat. We're going to go up to our palette, and we're going to look at our palette again. We're going to click on this yellow, and if you notice, you have a black line here, and if I take that black line, I can move it over, and I get these really fantastic solid greens right here, which moves into cayenne blue and into the dark blue. So what I want to do is I want to get somewhere here in the middle between this yellow and this green. And if I read my RGB numbers, it's got a little bit of red in it, which makes no sense. In paint, if I was using acrylic paints or oil paints, that'd be silly. But because this is a computer screen, it makes sense. But there's pure green here, 255 green. Blue, there is 0 blue. I'm going to take this almost neon green, and I'm going to grab my brush again over here on the left hand side, And I'm just going to add some of this green over here. See, there are my pretty greens. I'm going to come back to my palette. I'm going to move a little bit to the left, more into this solid green area here. You can see it's got less red. It's still 255 in the green, and it's 0 blue. I'm going to add some of that right here. I'm going to come back to my palette. I'm going to move that little black indicator a little bit more. Oh, and look, wait a minute. On my numbers 0, 0, 0, 0, where was it? There. There it is. Almost a pure green. R is 0, green is 255, and B for blue is 4. Let's see if I can just squeak it over. There we go. Oh, 2. Now I could type it in with my keyboard, but I'm going to be a little lazy and cheat. The human eye is not going to notice one little tiny bit of blue. And here is a very pure computer green. I'm going to put that right here in the middle where I needed it. Then I'm going to take my black indicator line again, and I'm going to start moving it towards the blue, and then you start seeing the blue numbers pop up. Here we've got 0 red, 255 green, and 78 blue. Get up to 100 blue, 120 blue. That sounds fine. I'm going to throw some of that in there. Yeah, look at that. And then I'm going to take my little indicator, black indicator, and keep moving it around the circle. And then I've got 255 green, 255 blue. And that is pretty much a straight peacock blue. Look at that, just perfectly right in between the green and right in between the blue with no red in it whatsoever. I'm going to come up here and grab that indicator again. I'm going to get a little bit more closer to the blue, and I want to add that right in there. Okay, so now what I want to do is I'm going to go back and grab my smudging blending brush again on the left hand side. Click that. And you can see now, here I'm just going to smear it right in the middle. There are those colors that I was looking for earlier that just didn't seem to happen by mixing the blue and yellow together. And it's because with real paint you are yellow, blue, and red, but with computer monitors you are red, green, and blue. What that means for you as a digital painter is that greens, you're going to be dependent on your palette to get the greens that you want. You're not going to be able to just mix the colors from your brush straight onto your canvas to get what you want. You're going to have to be more forgiving to yourself about your greens and just use that color palette instead of mixing them yourself. The next thing we're going to work on is tints. And a tint is a color plus white. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change my canvas. You'll watch my cursor come over here to the left. And you see here on my layers, this is the layer that I worked on. It's like working on a piece of clear plastic. You can take your paint and stick it on a piece of glass or on a piece of clear plastic, and you can see right through it to the bottom. This layer is your background layer, and if I click this circle here, I can change my background colors to anything. If I want blue, it makes it blue. If I want take this over to magenta, it makes it bright pink. I can do anything I want. But what for me is important today is I want a neutral color or a neutral tone. I'm going to come down here to these boxes. You can see here I've got pure white, I've got pure black. And look how those colors change and pop when you put them on top of black. Here I've got a middle gray, and that's what we're going to stay with. That's the one here, right here in the center of these boxes, because then we can actually see the white that we put onto our layer right here. I'm going to come over here to my scroungy brush, grab my scroungy brush again, and this time over at my palette, here my palette on the right hand side, I'm going to grab this pure white. Now here, because it's a computer screen, it's going to be 255 red, 255 green, and 255 blue. And that makes white on the computer screen because it's glowing red light, it's glowing green light, and it's glowing blue light, and that becomes white to your eye. I'm going to take this white, and I'm just going to make a big blob in the center. Look at that, just a nice big blob in the center of my beautiful color ring, and I'm going to just lightly start scribbling it out into the universe here, just slowly blending that white, just pulling it out lightly so that we can make our tint. Now often you'll hear people call them pastels. Pastels in art is an oily, chalky, pigment-made crayon. That's a pastel. This is not a pastel. This is a tint. I'm going to grab my smudgy round brush, and we're going to start blending the white to our colors to make a bunch of tints. Here's yellow turning into white. You get pale, pale yellow. There we go. Look at that. Get some very pale yellows there. I'm going to do the same thing with red. Red and white will make pink or rosa, rose color. In many parts of the world they call pink rose. There we go. Start getting some pink there. Look at that. There we go. There's our pinks. Nice, bright. Just nice scribbly pinks. Look at all that pretty pink. Yeah, there we go. I'm going to do the same thing with our blues. I'm going to take that white down into the blue, and we're going to get our pastel blues, our tint blues. Yeah, I know, I just said that. Look at there. Light blues, just smudging and enjoying playing with the paint color, playing with our blender brush. Look at those light blues, just smudgy, 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 smudgy. Yeah, so we've got our yellows and whites, we've got our reds and whites, and we've got our blues and whites, and now we're going to do our other colors. Let's just bring in that orange and white. Should make a nice pretty coral color. Yeah, there we go. Look at that. Just add some more white. Yeah. Look at all the tint that we can make. It's light colors. You can see because of the gray background, it has a little bit of gray to it. That the more white I add to it, the more solid it becomes. because I'm smearing this stuff on clear plastic. You see the gray come through. Same thing here. Just gonna add some white, add some orange, and just smear and smear. Look at all those beautiful pastel tint colors coming through. Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, now we're going to do all these greens. We've got to push those greens up. Get some of that white down. Start smearing light colors. Just smear, 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 smear. Experiment. Just see what you get. This is not about perfection today. This is about experimenting. And I'm going to pull in my purples and blues. Throw in that white and just start blending and smearing it all together. Yeah, look at that. Look at those pretty colors. Oh, look at that pink. Pinkish blue. Pinkish purple. Yeah, lots of neat tint colors. Yes, I can just pull that white into those colors. You can see through color mixing that the more you practice, the easier it gets. And your color wheel is just so beautiful. Look at that. Alright, now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add shades. And that is color plus black to make shades. Now if we go to the far right and we look at our color wheel, I'm going to click on red once again. It's 255 for the R. There's no green and there's no blue. This triangle is very important when you're picking your colors, because if I take this black indicator line and I slide down, you can see it getting darker and darker and darker until it gets to black. Pure black on a screen is the absence of light. It is the absence of color. So you can see there is no red, there is no green, and there is no blue. So if I want a middle red, I can see that there's only half of 255. There's no green and no blue. But today we're going to mix just like we're using real paint, except for greens. I'm going to slide this down all the way to black. There we go. All the way down to black. 0, 0, 0. I'm going to make sure I've got my favorite brush, which I accidentally opened the brush properties. Don't want that today. I just want my scrunchy brush. And just like I made this big white dot in the middle, we're just going to make a big black ring around the outside. Just go around. Oh, I'm going to take my shift key, click my shift key. You can see it comes up with this neat dialog here. I'm going to grab my magnifier and make my canvas a little smaller. There we go. And then I'm just going to keep making black around my color wheel, and I'm just going to gently paint some black in here. And you can see already we're getting some neat shades where the black is overlapping the color. It's just making these darker. Look at that, a little bit of black here. Yeah, black. A little bit of black. A little bit of black. A little bit of black. Right there on that edge. Yeah. Just experiment. Just free flow with it. And now I'm going to go back to my left-hand side, and I'm going to go down to my smudging blender brush. And once again, we're just going to smudge. And look there, we're getting our dark colors. Just going to go around the edge here and just look at your dark oranges, how the orange is getting dark. You can start anywhere on your wheel. Just blend that black in to your pure colors. And you can see all of the dark colors that you can get. There you go. Yeah, see now yellow kind of looks muddy, it looks kind of gray, it almost looks kind of green. Yeah, yellow does that in acrylics and oils too when you add black to it. It looks kind of muddy and green. Black is a very powerful color and it's very strong. And with acrylics and oils, there's usually a lot of pigment in black. So you have to be very careful how you use it because it can overpower your colors very quickly. And then the next thing you know, you have mud. You have just pure mud. There we go. Look at these blues and blacks together. Oh, that's like cobalt. Cobalt blue. Oh, how pretty that is right in there. Just go around and mix that black in. Look at those beautiful dark blues. Oh, that's lovely. Just keep going around, and here's your purples and blacks. Just enjoy coloring. Being kind of sloppy. Enjoy mixing your colors. Look at the pretty dark purple. So elegant. Dark red. Yeah, that's pretty. Just scribble. Scribble squiggly lines. Yeah. Look at all those neat colors you have made with your basic colors. So lovely. Now, I'm going to show you something interesting. Like I said earlier, when we paint on a layer, it's like painting on top of a sheet of plastic. So I'm going to go back up to my background here, and when I click it, these dialogues come up. I'm going to click white background, and now the colors look very different because that white is peeking through your paint. You can see all these different shades that come up here on the edges where I haven't mixed it very properly. And if I take my background and I click black, and then look what I have here. I have a whole new different set of colors. So be aware of how paint reacts to backgrounds. When you choose a background to start on, me personally, I like to start in the middle. That way I can see when I add white and I can see when I add dark. But you could also go dark to light, just like this, or You can go light to dark. There's so many different ways to do things, and there's no perfectly right way to do it. So this is our color wheel for today. I hope you have enjoyed scribbling and making a lovely color wheel, and I'll see you later.